Right, YouTube, Big Mike without further ado retro, and here's a few of this week's pickups. Cheers. Right, the first pickup we have is for the Street Fighter collection. Is the Japanese Super Famicom version of Street Fighter, the original Street Fighter. That picture there is the same as I remember back in the day when I got my Super Nintendo. Was the Street Fighter pack, and we had to drive around. One day my dad came home and said, right then boy, we're going to go and get you your birthday present, which was my Super Nintendo. I wanted it for over a year. And basically me and my dad went in the car. We went to, I think, Toys R Us, and they were sold out. And eventually we managed to drive around Tandy's in Yate, and eventually we managed to find out that Tandy's in Downend had one. They only had one left, so we phoned them up and said, basically, could you reserve it? We're on our way to get it. Went there, picked it up, the Super Nintendo and Street Fighter pack. I believe it came with 2 controllers as well. So yeah, then we took that home, and on the way of getting it, I was so excited I fell over, twisted my ankle, and subsequently had to have a few days off school. So I was allowed to have a few days off school, and obviously I was smashing in Street Fighter 2 over those few days. There's a story to go with that, but it's another Dougal McTavish story, and we'll hopefully tell that story soon. So let's have a look at this box. It's quite a nice condition. Got this at absolute steal from Japan. There's a bit of a sticker there. I'm not sure whether to try and remove that, because it looks quite. It's like a laminated sticker. So I've got some sticker remover, but I don't think that will penetrate the laminate unless I can get some of the fluid underneath on the sides and then remove the sticker. I might just leave it on, because like I say, this was bought for display purposes anyway, for the Street Fighter 2 display. So you probably only see the front of it in the display anyway. So, but just sort of check. There's a little scuff there, but other than that, you generally do find as well the Japanese must look after their stuff so much better than people in the blooming UK. I find out of all the countries, the UK stuff, unless you've had someone that's really been good and looked after their stuff, but a lot of stuff in the UK gets bashed up. But like the American boxes, they seem to hold up a bit better as well. So you can get better condition stuff from Japan and America, but there's a lot of bad condition stuff with the UK. You can get good condition, just depends on how the previous owners have looked after it, so, and how it's been stored. So, right, that's that one. Let's move on to the next one. Following with the Street Fighter vibe. This was from the same shop in Japan. Just going to stay. Which is probably my favourite Street Fighter 2, which is Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That's controversial for a lot of people, but I just think that when this came out, Street Fighter 2 was amazing, absolutely amazing. But at the time we didn't sort of realise, but it's quite slow. If you go back and play it now, it almost seems like you're playing underwater. Street Fighter 2 Turbo fixed all that. I believe basically it's the same characters, but you can now play the bosses. I believe on the first one there might be a code where you can put in and you can play the bosses on the first one. Something like up, down, left, right, YB, XA, or something like that. I think. I'm not sure, while the Capcom logo's on the screen. I could be wrong. Please correct me in the comments. But yeah, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Basically, they took an almost perfect recipe and perfected it, in my opinion, with this one. The skill sets were perfect. All of the characters were great. I think, the Super Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2's alphas and all that, they're good games, don't get me wrong, but I think Street Fighter 2 Turbo was the where it sort of really was at its best. Let's have a look again. This one's not quite as good condition as the other one. It's slightly indented, as you can see, but like I say, it's for display purposes, so you probably only see the front of it when it's in the cabinet. But once you put it in a protective box, the boxes sort of pretty much hold the shape of the boxes together anyway. So, but that's Street Fighter 2 Turbo. both Super Famicom releases. Now, one from Mega Drive, Galaxy Force 2. I'm trying to get basically a lot of Mega Drive shooters. I'm interested in import shooters, but I'd like to get most of the Mega Drive shooters. I think there's a lot of good Mega Drive shooters. So Galaxy Force 2 is one of the ones I didn't have. I believe it's one of the original games on the Mega Drive, one of the original shooters. I don't know if it's a particularly good game. It looks fairly standard. It looks fairly sort of basic, but I got this at a very good price. I put a buy it now offer in, and they said yeah, they accepted. I'll just show you inside. It's facing the right way, Tootie, as you can see. Shout out to Tootie there. And the manual's very clean. So, you know, the box is pretty clean, but the manual and cartridge are very clean. And like I said, I put a buy it now offer in, and they accepted. So I got that at a fantastic price. This one, Double Dragon on Spectrum disc. Now this one was a bit of a strange one. Apparently it's new old stock. There's a site, I can't remember the name of the site, but they've got a lot of older games, but they're covered in brown tape. Someone's obviously done them up in brown tape to try and protect them. And, you know, I remember this being a cardboard box back in it. I know the Mega Drive one is a cardboard box, but I remember the Spectrum version being a cardboard box. I do have this on tape, a new old stock on tape, in the same box as this. But back in the day, I remember it being in a cardboard box. But yeah, because this is in the new style, you know, plastic case, you know, the brown tape wasn't too much of a problem. The only thing it did do is slightly remove some of the top there. So, but other than that, have a look at this. Actually, I'll come back. I'll open it and come back. Right, the box is open now. It was an absolute nightmare to try and open. See instructions there. But look at this. I mean, this isn't something that's unusual with Spectrum disc games. You see that there? The label's just printed on and stuck over a standard disc, and that's quite often that happens. And what you know, obviously, I don't know, because discs were so expensive back in that day that they had to reuse the discs, or, you know, I'm not sure. I mean, I've got some original games, and if you sat there and you peeled off all the labels, you could tell that they'd reused discs that they hadn't sold, because those games that they hadn't sold still had the other labels underneath them. Really mad, like, you know, but now they sort of make discs with printed on, but back then they used to reuse discs and just sort of make a very basic printed label on a lot of the stuff, you know. Well, I suppose back then a lot of people didn't really sort of have disc drives, you know. I was quite lucky. Well, I say lucky, my parents had an absolute nightmare with me. We bought a Spectrum Plus 2A, and I don't know if anyone can remember, but back in the day, you used to have a little hole underneath the screwdriver, underneath the tape drive, where you could put a screwdriver in and you could adjust the volume to the cassette. But obviously, if you over adjust this thing, all it is two wires attached. You can snap the wires. Well, I reckon probably about 5 plus 2s broke on their own, and I think the 6th or 7th plus 2 I had broke probably with me doing a bit too much of the old adjusting with the volume of the tape drive. And my parents said, that's it, we've had enough. We'll get him one with the disc drive, and we can put our own tape drive on. And that's how I ended up with the Spectrum Plus 3. So it was very fortunate on my behalf anyway. And last one, but my no names least, is an Amiga big box. Dynamite Ducks. Absolutely fantastic game. A great arcade, very good on the Sega Master System, but also very good on the Amiga. This box is in lovely condition. Really is in nice condition. You wouldn't believe this is as old as what it is. But yeah, it's very, very nice. Very nice. If I can open it there, it's quite tight. I can't open it with one hand, but it's all in there. I'm not sure if it used to come with a poster. I don't think it has a poster in there. But what a lovely condition box. You know, if someone told you that was new, you wouldn't really unbelieve them, would you? Really, you know, there's not even really any shelfware. There's, you know, slight bit there, but other than that, what a lovely example. So there you are, Dynamite Ducks. Right, that does us for this show, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, YouTube. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.